Yo guys, what is going on? Kazan here, back at you. What's another video? And today's video is pretty plain and simple. You are allowed to be who you want to be. You're allowed to show your true colors. I think that is just something that so many of us have failed to realize and have failed to, allow ourselves to do, right? I feel like the internet and online and society has kind of failed us in that way. It's kind of forced us to be like, hey, you gotta, be this kind of person or do this kind of thing. You can't like this, you can't like that. And I think that kind of sucks, right? I think it's so dumb and annoying that for so long in society has kind of painted a picture to where we're not allowed to, actually genuinely be ourselves, be who we want to be who we are, right? You got to, paint this picture where you're the, this perfect person, right? You are so cool and so awesome and so amazing in this way and not actually your real self, right? And I think that's so dumb. Like, you're allowed to like what you want to like and you're allowed to express yourself in any way. And I think it's so disingenuous. So many people don't actually show those colors and show their real selves, right? They bottle themselves behind walls and things like I've done for so many years, right? For the longest time, I've been so afraid to, oh my god. Oh, I'm so ass. But actually express who you actually are and what you actually like, right? Like, to actually be the real you, right? It's so impossible to do that these days, and I think it sucks, and I think it's so dumb. I think it's really annoying that, like, I can't, like, the shows I like, or, like the video games I like, right? I gotta buy the games that my friends buy, right? Or, like, what the mainstream buys, right? I gotta play Marvel Rivals, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Or I gotta play, Arc Raiders when that was brand new or whatever, right? Or I'm gonna have to play GTA 6 when GTA 6 drops, right? Like, no, I don't care for these games. I don't care for this stuff. I'm not a big fan of these big mainstream things, I like old school Call of Duty. That's what I like, and that's what I want to play, right? That's what I want to do. I don't want to do these things because everyone else is doing them, and they're the trends, right? Like, I'm just sick and tired of, being a trend follower, right? And just following what everyone else is doing in society, right? Because I just don't care for that anymore, right? I'm done with that kind of stuff, right? This is not who I want to be anymore, right? I want to be my genuine self, right? Have a character, right? Have personality, right? An interest, right? And be different, and whether that, is what society wants or what society doesn't want, I'm doing for what I want, right? And I feel like it took me so long to realize that I'm allowed to do this and allowed to be who I want to be and be my own self, right? For so many years, I bought the newest game because it was the trend, right? Or I talked to people, to try to be cool, right? Or act, or like, I stopped, showing that I liked anime or whatever because that was like normal at the time, right? It was normal not to be like, I know that society has changed now since of COVID, and now people, like anime more, and it's really mainstream. But even still, I like the more, slice of life kind of shows and things like that, right? I don't like, the mainstream action shows all the time. Like, I do like some of them, right? Like, I'm a giant Dragon Ball fan, Hunter fan, right? I do like some of the big shonen animes here and there, but like a lot of times I don't like those kinds of shows, right? I like, the more slice of life, more chill shows, shows like Azumaya Daioh, or, shows like, Yoru Camp or Lucky Star, shows that, you might not even know the name of some of those shows or what those shows are, right? Like, that's kind of the thing, right? But that's just what I like, right? That's just the kind of thing that makes me feel good inside and makes me enjoyable to watch, right? And I feel like that kind of sense is what I kind of want in reality, right? It's that kind of freedom, that, that kind of, more freedom, chill, easier lifestyle, where it's not nearly as stressful as, life has been, in reality, right? Life is so stressful, so demanding, I feel like I'm overwhelmed a lot of times in life, and I'm forced to, do this and do that, rather than, be my genuine self, be the real me, do the things that I want to do, right? I gotta be so stressed, work, do this, do that, right? And conform to society's needs and what societal, views and things like that. And I kind of hate that, and it's just really been irking me over the past, few years, and I'm just done with that. And I want to make this video as a an example of showing that I'm done with that, right? I'm done following what everyone else does. I'm done being, a normie, I guess, if that's what you want to put. I'm done being like, a normie, right? I'm done being this, this person that, does what everyone else does to be, to try to fit in, right? I'm not going to fit in anymore. If people don't want to talk to me or interact because I don't fit in, I guess I'll just be, kind of more on my own, right? More of a, I guess, a loner, if you want to say that. But, like, it's not like I'm trying to be a loner or, trying to outcast people. It's just more like I'm not going to, shape who I am just to fit in anymore, right? I'm not going to, go against what I believe in and go against my, my views and my values just because, it's not what society wants. It's not, like, what I should be doing with myself, right? Because society says so, right? Like, society, I think, is really good at doing that, and it's done that for years, right? For generations, right? So many people are, forced, shaped for the way of who they are and what they do, right? And, they have to try to fit in and things like that for the longest time, and I think that's just so dumb, right? And I think it's so crazy that, like, people have the power to do that kind of thing, right? With the power to shape who you are, and I think a lot of people fail to even realize that as well, right? They fail to realize that they're losing themselves and who they are, right? Because they're, they're trying to fit in with social norms, social trends, right? Trying to, be conformist, right? I think that's the right word. I could be wrong. Sorry if that's the wrong word, but you know what I mean? They're just trying to, fit in, right? And be like everyone else, be, it's kind of like, I don't even know how to explain it, but it's just like so many people are trying to be like everyone else, right? Trying be follow everything and fit in. And I think that's so dumb that we're trying to fit in and not trying to make other people fit into us, right? Fit into what we like and what we do. Because I think that's like the coolest bond of the closest bonds, right? Like my best friend and the person I like the most is someone who doesn't really follow social norms, right? He's really shy. He doesn't really go out and he is a super nerd, right? He does all these crazy things that isn't normal, right? And he does all the things that he likes and what he finds cool, right? And that has nothing to do with what society wants and what society is. I'd say he's very against society, right? He doesn't play a lot of the most popular games, right? He plays a lot of weirder, wackier games, right? That are be called nerdy or be called a loser by like like a jock or like a normal guy. And I think that kind of stuff is like what's cool, and why I think we're able to bond so well is because he's able to admit to the fact that like he's not normal, right? He doesn't follow social norms. He doesn't do the thing that everyone else does because he's not trying to fit in, right? He's trying to be his actual self. He's so willing to admit that he likes what he likes and how he does it, and is so willing to express the way he does for his reasons. And I think that's cool, right? And I wish so many more people actually were able to do that, right? So many people were actually to be their real selves, right? So many people are just so fake, and when you start to talk to them, like LARPing's a big example, right? So many people are LARPing these days and wanting to LARP because they they want to fit in. LARPing's the biggest example of trying to don't even caring what the topic is, right? You just want to fit in and want to be cool, right? You want to be, hey, I do that thing too. I'm a part of this, right? I collect this stuff, or I'm into Persona, or I'm into this, I'm into that, right? You're into whatever the the LARPing thing is because you want to fit in. And I think that's so dumb and annoying that like that is what society is allowed, and it has forced us, and it's going to continue to shape us. Like people all hate LARPers, right? I don't think anyone doesn't not like someone who's LARPing and trying to fakely be a part of a trend, but I think that that's what everyone does anyways, right? Even non-LARPers, right? Even people that are already fans of that medium or that subject, right? You aren't a LARPer for it, sure, but you still were a fan. You still got into that thing because everyone else was into it, right? You might have actually done the research, actually studied up for it, but you still were influenced by society and influenced by others beliefs and what the popular thing was, so you did that thing, right? You're gonna buy GTA 6 because everyone else says they want to buy it, and because everyone says it's going to be the greatest game of all time. But like, is it really going to be the greatest game of all time? Like, we've waited so many years for this game to come out. Like, it's so unlikely to meet everyone's expectations, right? I feel like everyone's expectations are going to be hurt a little, and it could. Like, I'm not gonna go against GTA 6 just to be a hater, right? Like, I want the game to succeed and want people to be right and it do well, but like that doesn't mean that it is just because everyone says it's going to be and that's what everyone wants, right? Like, that's just not how life works. And I think so many people have come to think that that's how life works, and that's how life is these days, really. Life has to be this pretty perfect thing, and you do what everyone else does and you fit in, right? You dress the way everyone else dresses just to fit in and be cool, right? And I think that's another thing. The art of being cool is just, I think being cool is whatever you think being cool is, right? It's not actually, there's not a real cool definition, right? Just because someone says that's cool doesn't mean it actually is cool to you, right? Like, I think COD 4 is the coolest Call of Duty game, or one of the coolest Call of Duty games, but someone else to me think this game's fucking ancient as hell, this game looks like fucking Play-Doh, this game sucks dick, I'm not playing this game, right? Like, that's just the total duality of it, right? And that's your form of entertainment, that's what you find fun. So why can't we do that in reality? Why can't we do that more and be more open with ourselves, right? And come to realize that we're just following trends and not actually being true to ourselves. And I think that's all I really have to say, right? I think this lobby will actually, this game will actually last forever. And I'm on top of the leaderboard, but then again, this is a bot lobby. There's a lot of bots. Not many people play COD 4 on PC, so I might try to get a capture card and play on console for you guys. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something, and I hope you guys can go out there and be yourselves, right? Be whoever you want to be, right? Don't don't conform to societal norms, or don't follow trends, right? Do what you want because you want to do it, not because everyone else is doing it. And as always, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Later.